Hello, Joe Ducey here with Courtney Holmes,
Hello.
the Let Joe Know team here at ABC 15, and we're talking about water bills today. Water bills and utility bills, and people.
Sewer wastewater bills, because I know that's a big deal as well.
You know, I think people think of water as, and it's really both. They think of their water bill, but the sewage bill is actually a big part of it. If you look down and they itemize these bills, sometimes it's confusing. You will see that like one of the big charges is the sewage bill.
Yep.
Right at the bottom.
Especially if you live in certain parts of the valley, which we'll get to in a little bit.
So how'd you get your whole body on there? That happened again. You are. I do have another arm. It's never seen,
I
but
don't know. We've
not that it
been
matters.
adjusting this thing.
Anyway, hey, we're talking about water bills, and are you happy with your water bill? You pay too much, don't you? We put this on there. I put it on. I think it was a couple days ago on the Facebook Let You Know Facebook page, and I had all these people talking about how much they pay.
Yeah.
You know, and
And it varies.
And it varies, and of course it's going to be more probably during the summer. But people are talking about I don't have any yard, I don't have a pool, I don't, you know, and I'm paying $140 or whatever it is a month.
We take baby showers.
Yeah, we take
Yeah.
we bathe ourselves in the sink.
Okay, no one said
I
that.
bathe my dog in the sink.
But we did do a story about a man, this is a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
who he allowed his water to be cut off because he just could not afford it.
Yeah.
And he stayed in the Far West Valley.
Yeah.
But so today we're talking about water bills and how you can mitigate.
How much do you pay?
The issue.
How much do you pay? I wanted to see the highest and the lowest. Like say on average, say this month, and then maybe say in July. How much do your bills fluctuate between them? And have you had, first of all, that? Then secondly, have you had fluctuations where the bill has gone from your water bill or your utility bill has gone from like, you know, an average of $45 to $1,000 or $500 or whatever it is? I'd be really interested in knowing that. What's your average water bill? What's your average electric bill? Do you see monthly increases that don't seem to make sense? I mean, not that it's just hotter, or you know that you need more water, or you need more air conditioning, those kinds of things.
Or you filled up your
I want to
pool
know.
or whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because I went back. I'll go back while you do all your talking here, or you're doing something else. I went back and I put this, as I said, I posted something on there, and I wanted to get people's reactions to see how many people actually did have a problem with this, and a lot of people did. Now, you know, I don't like paying a lot for water anyway, so I might be upset by that, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I have a whole lot of fluctuation with it, but some people are really concerned because nobody is helping them find out if there's a leak or find out what the problem may be, and they don't know why they're paying more.
And here's the thing. We have to, first of all, when you have an issue with your water bill, the first thing that they're going to say is, do you have a leak? That's the first thing they're going to say. So in order to try and answer that question, we have Plumbing Masters is one of the experts that we have on today, who we can ask them questions about how do I check for a leak? How do I know if I have a leak? I have no clue how to check if I have a leak. If I don't see something dripping out of my sink, I have no idea. Do we check the toilets? How do you check your drip system? How do you check your meter to see if there's a leak? So we have Plumbing Masters here.
Brian's going to be here from Plumbing Masters.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
And also?
We also have the Arizona Corporation Commission.
Yep.
So they regulate non-municipal water companies, the EPCORs of the world, the Johnson Utilities of the world. They regulate them. And
Some of you know about Johnson Utilities. Man, we've been hearing a lot about them.
yeah, they service Santan Valley.
Yeah.
And, EPCOR is throughout the state that has multiple areas that they service. But
So would it be non-municipal, non-city?
Right.
If you're City
So-
of Phoenix Water, Corporation Commission wouldn't handle
right,
that.
City of
If you're
Phoenix, you live in
Scottsdale,
Chandler. However,
Yeah.
there is relief for you as well. We'll be getting into that too.
No.
So,
Okay. So, you know, the good thing about the Corporation Commission is they actually test water meters, or they used to. I don't know if they can tell us if they do that, but we've been with them before where they've actually taken a meter out, gone and tested to see if that's what the big test is, to see if it's actually working or not. And they've done that, and I think you can do that with the Corporation Commission now. Now, you could also do that with individual cities. We've done that too. Recently, we had a woman from Tempe who had a water bill. I think it was like, her average was maybe around 100 or less, and she doesn't have, it was probably like $80. Then suddenly it went up to like 1,000. So something's got to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and so we went to the city of Tempe. They didn't give her all their money back, but what they did do is and they did this before we got involved, they took her down to another level. You've got those levels of water use, so you use a certain amount of water and it's at this price. If you use more than that, it's at a different tier, a different level, because you're using more than the whatever, so it costs a little more. And then there's another one
once you
beyond
hit
that.
a certain amount,
Right.
now they're going to be charging you more
Right.
for that certain amount.
So hers was the ultimate, the big amount, and they brought it back down to the small amount, so it was less money, but we still weren't able to solve the problem. So water problems can be very frustrating. The Corporation Commission, go ahead.
I was going to say it's like the one commodity that you kind of don't know how it's going to turn out until the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know, with electricity, there are, the websites that show you, oh, you're using this much,
Yeah.
or you're using that much.
Yeah.
But with water, it's more difficult to gauge what you're using, what you're not using, whether or not you have a leak.
Yeah, although I do get those emails every now and then. You're doing better than your neighbors. You ever get those?
Yeah.
Which says, it's like, I rarely get that for electricity, but I get those for water occasionally. I wanted to go back over some of the people who wrote about their water bills. This is also electricity, though. Not, Plumbing Masters won't handle that, but the Corporation Commission handles water, sewage, electricity, gas, and I think one more. They don't handle internet problems.
No. Telephone.
Telephone.
Landlines.
Okay.
Specifically.
So if you got issues with those two, the Corporation Commission can help you with that. And Plumbing Masters, what kind of problems do you see? What are some of the big problem areas where you get called out to a house and it involves water? Where do you typically see leaking if you see leaking? I'd like to know that. These are some of the concerns that came up when we put that on. Let's see here. This was, okay, Mary Ann says she paid $160 to $400 per month while in Sun Cities. Karen talks about $100 to $150 a month. When they lived in Mesa, their water bill was that. Lots of grass and trees. Moved to Santan Valley, and from Queen Creek, no grass, and yet they seem to be paying more. So that's kind of interesting too, because how your circumstances change, and yet you're paying more, and you don't have, you're not watering anything. Let's see. I am by myself. Water loan is $50. $50, Yolanda. Then there's a sewer fee of $14. That's not too bad. $64. I would take that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some places in the valley where people are paying literally hundreds of dollars a month for water and wastewater.
Goodyear.
And that's one of them.
$130.
Yeah, and that's sort of actually I think it's Buckeye that's kind of out of control right now, but
Yeah.
it's sort of something that you have to consider. If you are in a municipality, you're in Phoenix, you're in Tempe, you're in Mesa.
How about the
something-
Agua Fria district?
Hold on. If you're in one of those, then you can kind of expect a lower bill. Once you get into what you're talking about, the Agua Fria wastewater district, if you're up in Anthem, if you're out in Buckeye, something like that, those things there are fewer people paying into and paying for the wastewater treatment and the facilities and all that, which means that those bills are higher. That's kind of the math of it. If there are fewer people paying into it, then those bills are going to be higher.
Rhonda pays $280 a month, and she doesn't have a pool.
Where's Rhonda?
Agua Fria.
Yeah.
It's the sewer there. That's the problem. That's one of the big. It's
Yeah,
not
the wastewater.
Yeah,
is
it's the
a
wastewater.
Big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go to some of the. I think we have some comments here. If I can read them.
Which I can't get into. Actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, Barbara Hostler. Thanks for being here, Barbara. Leaks that magically fix themselves. And what she says, so big there was a city meeting bringing the media. Let us tell you. Okay. Big story in Maricopa County. So, okay, so big. Okay, I'm reading the opposite. Let me read that again. Yeah, I'll read it from the way I should. Oh gosh, I can't get them all. That's a problem. Big city meeting talks about leaks. Leaks magically. I already did. Magically fix themselves. That's what Barbara has to say. So I have to go through here.
Okay.
Okay. I want to read some of the comments here, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about what the Corporation Commission covers. Okay, what problems the Utilities Division can they help with? Rates or charges, installations or disconnections. They can responsibility for a bill, a request for a deposit, refusal of service by utility, the quality and type of utility service. The consumer staff cannot help with merchant sites sold to you by a public utility, complaints against landlords or property owners, complaints concerning bottled propane and those kinds of things. Complaints against regarding municipality-owned utilities, and also not cable television. You know, who regulates cable television or the internet? I don't think anybody.
Well, cities decide who
Yeah.
gets to provide cable television in their municipality. So, City of Phoenix gets to decide that, and they have like an agreement with the cable providers
Yeah.
in the area.
Okay, Barbara, we beg for help in this city. That's Maricopa. It's Mara Jean says we live in Mesa. Our water bill runs upwards of $300 a month. Mara Jean, is that every month? That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I would like to know if that's just a certain time of the year. Is that June, July, August? Which is still a lot of money, but and do you have a pool, grass? Tell me a little bit more about what's going on there. Barbara says, okay, I think Angie sees it. Angie Holdsworth used to be here. Hi, Angie, with ABC 15. She's now with the Corporation Commission. It says contact your individual city departments or council members for issues with city-run utilities. Barbara has an issue with the Corporation Commission. Sorry, Angie. So maybe, Barbara, you could give your concern, and then Angie probably can't answer specifically on a lot of things unless she does some research on it, but could talk maybe generally about some of these things.
Right.
So Barbara, maybe you could talk about what your concern is there. You said in Maricopa, disappearing leaks, I guess. Laura says investigate a company in Maricopa, which is what Barbara's talking about, since now they are changing out all the city's water meters and now our water bills will be going up. Barbara says $660 electric bills and $273 water bills in Maricopa for 2 people. Wow. So Barbara, anything else unusual about your place, and has that been a consistent amount that you've been charged? Patricia North says, thanks for the discussion. Why is your chair so much further in front of that of your guest? Because we're trying to get both of us in the shot.
We're trying to stagger.
That, Patricia. That was a friendly question. The way that this is all set up is kind of weird. Sorry about that. Kathy, $125 to $230 a month. Is that also okay? So probably $125 during this time of year, and then $230 the rest. Now, do you have a pool, Kathy, or anything that would landscape? Plumbing Master says, "Hello guys, Plumbing Master's here to help." So I asked Plumbing Master, okay, you can put a few drops of food coloring in the tank. Now this is a way to find a leak. Put a few drops of food coloring in the tank and see if it shows up in your bowl. And if you see it, then it is leaking and going down your drains.
Ah.
That's really
so
interesting.
So the back tank, put some drops in there, food coloring, and if it shows up in the toilet bowl, then you've probably got a leak in your toilet. That's
Think
interesting.
about that. I guess that makes sense, yeah. 'Cause I was thinking, where does the water go that's in the back, though? It comes in and, yeah, okay.
Plumbing Masters also says they can do a water audit to make sure that you're being conservative and also see if there are any leaks that you do not know of.
Mm-hmm.
So, Plumbing Masters, where do you normally see these leaks? Like, let's say somebody's, I don't know, toilet has been leaking for a month. Is that like something where you can fill up like an Olympic-sized pool? Because as soon as you say, "Hey, my water bill is $100 more than it normally is," it's like, well, there was a leak.
Yeah,
How-
they always say there was a leak.
You have no idea. Well, I don't have any idea how much of that leak should equal.
Yeah.
Should it equal $100 a month, or should it equal $1,000 a month?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the size of the leak, but you're right.
Yeah.
Plumbing Master says we see toilets that leak internally from the flapper in the tank. The water sneaks through and you won't notice it unless you hear it turn on by itself and fill back up. It's called ghost flushing. I didn't know that. Ghost flushing. Hey, there's another way to check, their Plumbing Masters will do this too. And this is through the city of Chandler, but I've seen it online, and there are YouTube videos as well about how you can check for a leak at the water main, I guess, or at the water, the meter box. First, locate your meter box. That's it. Do you guys know where your meter box is? That's another question. Do you know where your meter box is?
I do.
You do?
Let me tell you something. Ever since I started doing these water stories,
Yeah.
What was it, a couple of years ago when we were doing that Epcor story, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out how to read my meter.
So you
And
know where it is, and you.
I know where it is,
Okay.
and I know how to read it.
How to turn water off to the house and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first locate your meter box. It's generally located near the sidewalk in front of your home in a direct line with the main outside faucet. I didn't realize that though. It's important to make sure the meter lid is uncovered and visible at all times. A black circular disc on the lid provides a signal to the meter with an electronic signal. Now that's the city of Chandler, but turn all water using appliances off so that no water is being used. This means turning off all water inside, outside the house, including showers, sinks, washing machines, ice makers, which is a good one you don't think about, and any appliance that uses water. If you have an automatic irrigation system, turn off the controller. Carefully remove the meter box lid, and plumbing masters will say you probably shouldn't do this on your own, but I think you can do it. If you've got a little bit of skill in this area, you can probably do it. Carefully remove the meter box lid by using a tool such as a large screwdriver. Stand back. I like that. Stand back. Could be a geyser there. There are sometimes critters inside the box that will be startled when the lid is removed. You know, you're going to get those little gecko,
little lizards.
Yeah. Give them a chance to get out of the way. I love that. Who wrote this? It's great. Give them a chance to get out of the way. They're just victims here. The meter uses a straight reading dial, which is read similar to a car's odometer. The meter measures water use in 1,000 gallons. Most meters in the city of Chandler have a digital display, which alternates between the meter. Did you just the whole thing here? Oh no, step 3. Okay. So.
What I was going to say is, if one of the ways that I try to monitor
Wait, you got in the middle of my thing here.
I use, but hold on, I'm piggybacking off this, is by looking
People are going to
at
forget. Attention spans, all of ours, they're like that big.
It's by looking at my meter regularly. If there's like a ton of water that's going through, and I haven't used a ton of water, that's a problem. Perhaps I have a leak. But go ahead.
All right. So turn off all your stuff. Take the thing off the meter. Observe the flow rate screen for at least 10 flashes. If the number is greater than 0 on any of the flashes, you have a continuous leak. So it should read 0 at the meter because you've got all of it off. So if the meter's going on, you have an issue, right?
Right.
Now plumbing masters could probably wave in here. Observe the sweep hand. If there's no indicator, if the hand is not moving, well, that tells you different things to do here. To isolate the leak, turn the water off to your house. Your home's valve is usually located under the outside faucet near the front of the house. With all water turned off in the house, there should be no movement of the small pointer or any of the dials on the meter. If the leak indicator or dial is still moving, water is flowing between the meter and the shutoff valve. Okay? So if you shut off all the stuff in the house and you still have something going, then they say that the leak is between the meter and the valve. It's called the service line. Consider that movement in your meter. It can also cause by things like an automatic pool filler, a leaky irrigation valve, or an evaporator cooler. And then check your irrigation system. If leaks in your they may not be noticeable unless your system is running. Turn your control on manually. Walk your property, looking for broken sprinkler heads, makes sense. Missing emitters. Check for leaks inside the house, including toilets, washing machines. And then it talks about to check a toilet leak and exactly the same information that Plumbing Masters gave you about the food coloring, which is great. So yeah, I mean, what you want to do is just basically turn off the water and make sure your meter's still not going.
Okay, so let's say that, your meter isn't going.
Right.
You don't have a leak, but your water bill is still out of control.
What do you
don't know
do?
how to fix it.
What the heck do you do, Courtney?
Maybe there's something wrong with your meter,
Yes.
which is when you call your water company,
And then what do
whoever
you do?
that might be, and you ask them to check it for you. Now, if they pull your meter, they're going to charge you for it. If you feel like this meter is broken, it needs to be fixed. If they pull it and it's not broken, they're going to charge you for it. If it is broken, then they probably won't. But if you can't get satisfaction there, you can file a complaint. If you are, and I'm talking about private utilities, private water companies specifically, not City of Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Chandler, etc. You can file a complaint with the Corporation Commission. From there, the Corporation Commission does an investigation. And Angie, if you could talk about, we have Angie Holdsworth with the Corporation Commission that is posting on their behalf. If you could talk about what that complaint process is, because we always get these complaints.
Yeah.
And we know what we would do ourselves, but we don't know specifically what the process is that the Corporation Commission goes through in order to investigate what's wrong.
Right. If you could do that, Angie, and if you could also just say again, if you could post something about what kinds of concerns you look at and what kinds of concerns you don't. I went over those briefly, and people can look them up on your website, which I've got on this Facebook page. But if you could kind of put some things that and maybe some common things that when people have water issues, what are the common, what's it found out to be? Do you come to some conclusion on these things or not? I would think in some cases you wouldn't.
Actually, Angie says
Right.
they recommend, this is from the Corporation Commission, they recommend you keep a 7-day log of your meter.
Okay.
Same time each day to track water use. The Corporation Commission can also help test your meter.
Okay. All right. Elizabeth says, Who do I contact about? Okay. Laura says, my electric bill during the summer in a one-story home is almost $600 a month. Electric bill.
Oh, electricity. Okay.
Yeah, now SRP is not, it's APS that the commission regulates.
Yes.
SRP is not regulated.
Right.
Right. So if APS, I guess if you have a concern, Angie, they could probably come to the Corporation Commission about that. But I would also check to make sure that, you know, that all of your, like you would with a water leak, to make sure there weren't any other concerns going around, any other problems maybe with the electricity, things weren't on when they shouldn't be. And if it's a big, you know, difference in your months, then I think it's something that maybe you should go to them about. And Elizabeth wants to know, who do I contact about that, because I was a runaround and haven't heard anything, and waiting for a supervisor to call me. It's been 2 weeks. I guess, Elizabeth, it depends on which electric company it is, and if it's SRP, you're gonna have to go through them. Who regulates? I guess there's no really regulation of SRP.
I think there's like an advisory board or
Right.
something like that for SRP.
All right, but APS, you can go to the Corporation Commission if you have an issue there. All right, what else here? Oh, Mary pays between 85 and $100. Okay, so the average is about, well, there really isn't one, is there? 85 to 100. Kathy, 125 to 230.
I mean, that's a lot. Is that where are you? Is that water and wastewater and trash and all that?
I'm sure it is.
Are you in a municipal area, or are you in a private utility that may have higher costs?
Let me look and see if there's anything else here. Oh, Angie talks about global Santa Cruz water rates will not be going up.
Okay.
Rates cannot change without a rate case. That has to come approval by the Arizona Corporation Commission. Okay, so, you know, that's the other thing too. You can go to the corporation site, you can probably see, I would guess, the history of, right, for a certain period of time, the rate increases for what was okayed. I would assume that's probably on the site.
Well, the corporation, it's an interesting website because there's rate cases for everything. Any increase has to have what's called a rate case, which means it has to go through all these hearings and all this, and there's documentation for all those things. I think probably the best way prior to moving somewhere is to ask neighbors, look, how much are you guys paying for water out here? How much did you pay last year? And when you're looking for a home, you can ask the people who own the home currently, what is your bill like for this house? That will give you a better idea.
And then ask about the HOA too.
No, well, yeah, that too. But I think a lot in these non-municipal areas that are farther out, people, a lot of times they're from out of state, not from here, they buy there and assume that the utilities are going to be, particularly the water and the wastewater, are going to be comparable to a municipal one, and don't realize that there's more at play when you are not in a municipal water area.
Okay. Barbara says she's going back to Maricopa. Certified plumbers come out. They say no leaks, and next month the bill is normal. You can plan on 3 times a year to have an astronomical bill for water. That's the issue they're having there. Plumbing Masters talks about the same thing that we talked about earlier, and that is to do a water meter test, turn off your emergency shut-off valve, and see if your meter is still spinning. And then Laura's from Maricopa with some issues there.
Plumbing Masters says a common leak is called a slab leak. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
A slab leak. He says most often it is from your piping on the hot side under the slab of your home. You may even find a warm spot on your floor. A lot of times your animals in the winter will come and lay where it's warm. We can check for this by shutting off your emergency valve. So if your dog goes to a certain area every day when it's warm,
They may know.
or when it's cool outside, that might be the area.
Terry writes, and I don't know if she's on here. She was going to be on here, but Terry wrote, and maybe she can get in touch. And Angie, this is something you can't answer immediately, but she's got an issue where she reached an agreement, installed a water meter at my residence. I had to purchase this meter from the water company for $900. That's a lot of money. A water meter?
I've never purchased one, but that does sound like a lot of money.
The water company informed me that they would repay me this money on my water bill. Okay. So they'd apply a credit of 1/10 of the amount each November. So I paid in cash the full amount. In December, I moved from this residence. When I asked about the water company for the remaining credit I was owed, they told me I wouldn't be getting it. The rest of my money, $500, would be applied to the new owners of the house. Didn't think it makes sense. Feels like she should be getting that since she's the one who paid the money in the first place. And can't get any answers. So
So
now
she wants
complete
them to cut her
strangers
a
who
check.
paid nothing for the water meter are going to get my $500. I'm furious, to say the least. Can you help me? So she went to the commission, so Angie may be hearing from her as well. I told her you might be on here today. But that's an issue with the water meter. I didn't know they were that expensive, actually. And then Teresa has a problem with the city of Scottsdale, so there isn't a whole lot that the Corporation Commission can do. But the July was more than double than the usual amount. It's not a landscaping issue, it's refilling our pool. The city says the water meter is correct. So yeah, I'm interested in any of you, have you gone through the process of trying to fight your water bill, and have you been successful at that? Have you tried to prove that there's a leak? Have you had any issues with that?
Something else I would, if you are in a municipality and the one that Joe was just reading was that someone was doing work in the area and their bill skyrocketed and they can't get anybody to take responsibility for it, talk to your neighbors. See if their bill went up as well during that same amount of time, because there's power in numbers. When you have a municipality, you have to go to them directly. And I would suggest in numbers to make something happen. Use Buckeye, for example. Their water bills are very high.
Yeah, we've done stories about that.
They've
ABC
gone
15.
months, in some cases years, with these really high bills, and things have come to a head to where everybody was getting these bills, and something had to be done. There's movement now. I don't think the bills have been lower yet, but there's now at least movement in the direction of what the heck is going on.
Deborah talks about, thank God she's got a water bill, $40 to $60. Deborah, you're the winner. You are the winner right now. You have the lowest bill. And who has the highest bill? $250. EPCOR. That's Cullen. Cullen has a lot of money each month. And I'm sure that fluctuates, but Angie says, in making a complaint, go to the website, which we have on the Facebook page. You can make an informal complaint first. One of your investigators will contact the company and you to try. Well, see, that's great. You guys, so you investigate every complaint, and you try to find a resolution. If there's no resolution within 20 days of our contact with you, then the complaint will go to mediation. If still no resolution, the consumer can file a formal complaint, which will eventually go before the commission for a decision. So they try to work it out beforehand. Okay, that's great.
Mary Moore says she has a septic tank, no garbage service, just water, $85 to $100. Just water.
Wow.
She's in Litchfield Park.
Craig Watanabe, some utilities are allowed to estimate readings, where they take perhaps a 6-month average and apply it to the next month's reading as consumption. Many PUCs do not allow consecutive estimate readings, but there are public utility commissions do not allow consecutive estimate readings, but there are meter readings out there that will guesstimate a reading instead of actually reading the results. I know I used to have to investigate high water bills. Okay. It wasn't water bills, it was, because of the smart meters as well. Wow. There's a gas utility. So that's interesting too, if they estimate over a certain period of time. But I'm sure if they estimate, they have to then go back and measure a certain period of time as well, right? I think that's the case. Plumbing Master says in the summer, if you notice a huge increase in your electric bill, you could have a leak in your air ducting, and you may be cooling your attic. And then he talks about a sister company that looks at air ducts. Now with the air duct cleaning, you got to be careful.
Yes.
And you know, Plumbing Masters, and this may be, Plumbing Masters is great, and the other company I don't know much about, but there are other companies that'll talk you into air duct cleaning, and they don't do anything, and they charge you a lot of money. So I mean, if you really have a problem with your air ducts, like there's a gap or something, I've seen that before, and that's a legitimate concern. But I've seen others charging, I think it was $1,500, $2,000. It was a mobile home, and the air duct there was no issue at all. And when we went back out, they said they cleaned it, and we went back out and found a dead mouse, all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah. So you got to be really careful about air duct cleaning.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody that you're having to work on your home in any capacity, check them out.
Yeah.
Look them up. Make sure they're certified to do what it is that they're going to do. Check their Better Business Bureau reviews, all those different things.
You know, I've gone over this a few times, but I do think it's a good piece. If you are looking for a leak, one good piece of information to leave with is what we've been talking about. That's how to check for it. And Plumbing Masters probably puts it in concise manner, so I'm going to repeat it one more time. So they say basically to check for a leak, go to the front of the house or side of the house where the main shutoff is, the emergency shutoff, and turn your shutoff valve off, and also shut off the valve to your sprinkler valve. Okay, and this will tell you if you have a leak from the meter to the house. If the meter dial is not spinning, then you do not have a leak in your yard, and it is in your home. Okay, and then you can do the same kinds of things there to find out, where you may have a leak there. So that's good information, I think, because you need to know that because people are going to tell you certain things, and you just kind of want to know yourself too. What you tested yourself.
And that's something that you can do throughout the month
Elizabeth,
and try and catch it.
I do not feel your pain because it's a lot of pain. $700 in 3 weeks
Wow.
in Buckeye. That's Elizabeth.
What happened? Is that like what happened, Elizabeth? I
Yeah.
am floored.
$700. I don't understand either. Playmaster says always look up a contract to BV register. Make sure they're licensed. That's a really good idea as well, which we always recommend. Let's see here. Oh, you can also file, Andy says, comments for pending rate case by going to their website. So yeah, you can actually try to stop it from happening in the first place by getting involved. And a lot of people, that's the thing. And of course, I'm not saying anything about anybody here, but a lot of people, who complain about something afterwards may have had an opportunity to try to stop it in the beginning. And some people may have complained in the beginning and not gotten what they wanted. And then I'd be complaining afterwards too if I didn't.
Well, and I don't think
Yeah.
people realize that there is a regulating entity.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is a lot of these are outlying areas. Like northern Arizona has a lot of, pretty much anything outside of a large city has a private utility.
Yeah.
And if you're in northern Arizona, you aren't going to bus people to
Right.
the Corporation Commission, or
Why not?
you're just not
Could be a fun
certain.
day.
You're silly.
Angie will provide cookies and Kool-Aid.
And a lot of people just don't know that there's an entity that actually regulates this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why this is worth sharing so that people do know, and you can let people know, look, I can't afford whatever this increase is, or maybe you guys can hold off on it, or whatever.
I mean, I guess there are legitimate reasons for companies wanting increases, but you have to look at what you have now and is it worth it. And the other thing is we should probably do some comparisons, and that would probably be it for us, with like cities, like communities. Like, I don't know if it would be Vegas, I don't know, in the desert, someplace like that, or Santa Fe. How much do they pay? Albuquerque, how much do they pay? Places like ours, parts of Texas. And then I know there are a lot of other circumstances that could be involved there.
A lot,
yeah. Probably
Yes.
the water. So that's
Yes.
the reason we don't. But I think those are good comparisons to make. How else do you know how much you should be paying? Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it wraps
Touched
up for
on a lot
today.
of
This is
stuff.
going to be here for a long period of time. You've got websites. Plumbing Masters, thank you very much, Brian, for being here. Angie, thanks as always. Great to talk to you in a way here. With the Corporation Commission. So if you've got issues, you kind of know where to go, hopefully. If you've got, if it's non-municipal, then you would go to the Corporation Commission. If it's a city, then you go to the city with that. I just saw a couple more things I don't want to say. I guess you could read these. Checking the water pressure in your home, Plumbing Master says, and there's Plumbing Master's information there. We're on every night at 6 o'clock, ABC 15, always here on the Facebook page and at abc15.com. So share it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. I'm going to go up here and press finish.
Yeah.
That's how we do it here at ABC 15.